Hey, welcome to my channel. And as my mom would say, I look like old Hank today. If you can see, my shirt is filled with food, where I've been eating, where I've been cooking. I am a mess. But I want to just come on here and talk to you a little bit. Waiting on RJ. I got good news. That's my good news. Let me tell you my good news first. Hold on. My good news is I am getting a ramp at my back door so I can get in and out of the house. Now, I've been housebound for the past 2 days because they're working on it, but it's going to be so nice. He's fixing it so we can still get furniture and appliances in, not just like a little skinny ramp where we can, pivot like friends pivot if we need to do all that. So it's going to have like a little baby deck landing on the side, and then my ramp will come out on the other side. And all I have to do is just park further back in the driveway than I do now to where the end of, or I mean, I can park anywhere I want to, but if I want to be at the end of the ramp, then I just have to park back a little bit. But I'll tell you, we were going to put a deck, back here at the sliding glass doors. We've not gotten there yet. We were going to fix the big room. There's some things going on that we don't really want to spend our money right now. So instead of me keeping on struggling trying to get in, because some days I just stand there and I'm put to the point where I can't hardly get in, and it's just 2 steps and I can't hardly get up them. So he's just like, okay, putting in a ramp. So the back of the house, I'll show you a picture whenever it gets done. The back of the house is not finished because that's the corner. The house is brick, and that's the corner where it's the carport was built in. It's got vinyl siding on it, and the vinyl siding's tore up because we have not worked on that, the outside or the inside. But who cares? I'm going to have a ramp, and I'm going to be able to come and go as I please. I told him he still has to get my groceries in. He's like, oh, I'm like, oh, no, you're my grocery boy. You still have to get my groceries in. But I told him, I said, I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to spend $400 that I don't have, and I'm going to come home, and I'm going to drag every piece of it in myself. You know how nice it will be to just walk up a ramp and just walk. I might even take the garbage out now. I just set it down in front of our recycle bin because going up and down the steps is too much of a task. So I might take the garbage out all the way to the garbage can since I can. I'm just thinking of all the things like going out and getting flare dandelions. All the little things that'll just be so much easier on me. So anyway, RJ's been up here helping him for the past 2 days, and RJ just left to go get us something to eat. Whataburger. I ain't gonna lie to you, we gonna have Whataburger. I cooked last night. I made our wings. I did not make those smothered french fries because I forgot to make my ranch dressing, and I forgot to buy bacon bits. He's not eating pork, so I didn't want to do turkey bacon. I just didn't want to. And they didn't have the fake bacon bits when I was at Harris Teeter last week, and so I never thought to get them anywhere else. So instead we just had those bird's nest from Trader Joe's with our wings. Oh, the wings were so good. They were just so good. Just my own personal twist on buffalo wings, and there's nothing buffalo about them. So everybody's getting hungry. RJ hadn't had Whataburger in a while. I'm like, I never turn down the Whataburger. So we're going to get that. And then yesterday, what I did yesterday, listen, if I have a game this week, it's nobody's fault but my own. And I won't blame it on nothing but me. I baked a cake. I'm going to tell you why. Y'all know I'm from the South. I saw a TikTok this morning where there's this man from North Carolina, and he has a little TikTok thing, and he's always talking about North Carolina things and all this, and he's funny. Well, somebody put one, and he posted a little comment that said, we here in Georgia don't consider North Carolina the South. And he was going on about it, and I'm like, we are too the South. I am a Southern woman. As a Southern woman, I have pound cake in my blood. Let me tell you, I growed up around pound cakes. My mama, as long as I can remember, And I remember sitting on the counter with her every weekend when she would make her pound cakes. She would sometimes put food coloring swirls in it, right? And she wouldn't let me look. She would put it in there so when it was done and she cut into it, I would be surprised at what color the swirl was. And then sometimes she let me pick the color swirl that I wanted to do. But every weekend she made a pound cake because every day for work, Papa took a piece of pound cake with his lunch and it was wrapped in wax paper. That was as commonplace as a glass of tea, you know what I'm saying? I've always loved pound cakes. I love to bake pound cakes and I love to eat pound cakes. And here's the thing. It is not a reasonable assumption for me to say, as a Southern woman, I will never ever again make a pound cake or eat a pound cake. That's not reasonable. It's not going to happen because I am going to bake another pound cake at some point in my life. The rest of my life, there will be another pound cake. This one was fresh strawberry pound cake. Oh my gosh, so good. I sent the bulk of it home with RJ. He said, pound cake? He said, this is 5-pound cake. I'm like, oh, it is a heavy one, but it's so good. It's just so good. I had some yesterday, I had some today. If I'm being truthful about it, I'll probably have some tomorrow. It'll be gone, because like I said, I sent the bulk of it home with him. But it's just been one of them weekends. Y'all have them weekends sometimes? I don't feel like I'm off the rails. I'm not purposely eating bad stuff. I purposely made that cake. I sure enough did. I've been wanting to make a pound cake for the longest time, and I purposely made that cake. And I said, well, it's strawberry time. Let's do strawberry. So that was purposeful. But I'm not like lost control to where like, oh my gosh, I can't stop myself. I know that I'm eating the cake and I know that I'm getting Whataburger. I mean, but it's not uncontrollable. Am I making a lick of sense? I don't know if I am or not. And I know now I say we're grilling tomorrow, but if they're still working on that deck, because like yesterday, a lot of the time they just went out there, they saw the blank space, they did their planning and you know, calculating and figuring and deciding how they wanted to do it, and then they had to dig post holes and concrete and, you know, all kind of stuff. So we're fixing to eat, and then David's going to make another material run so they can start laying the floor of the deck. So we call it the deck. It's just going to be like a little landing side and then a ramp side. So I don't even know what I was saying. Where that plane is now. Bombarded by vehicles. Oh. Speaking of vehicles, if you did not watch the little part of my DT holiday, you did not know this, but my Sebastian is coming next weekend for 2 weeks. Yes, I kind of had hoped, since it's summer and he's not in school, he just graduated preschool and he'll be starting kindergarten in the fall. So then I don't know when we'll get to see him. I don't know how that's going to work because he can't miss that school. I kind of thought maybe he'd get to stay longer than 2 weeks since it's summertime, but he's not. So I don't know, but at least we're getting 2 weeks. We hadn't seen him since, I think it was March, whenever he had his spring break. But then it was like November since we had saw him before. So this was at least a little bit March to June. That's a little closer. That's better. But I'm excited to see him. I can't wait to see him. I cannot wait to see him. Listen, Holly and her husband went on a trip to the mountains this weekend and left the baby with his parents. I'm like, oh, I don't know how she did it. I don't remember how old she was when I let her go. But I know RJ, he was 2 years old before I even let him go to my mama's house. That was my first child, and he was attached to me at the hip. Literally and figuratively. Literally, if I can see it in my mind's eye, if I just shut my eyes, I can see it in my mind's eye. If I was walking around the house doing something, that child was made up on that hip. I always used to say that's why God give women hips. prop a baby up on it. I cooked one-handed. I did everything you could imagine. I did one-handed. I figured out how to do it. I mean, when you're a mama, you just learn how to do things. But he was my baby, and I just couldn't let him go. It's not like I thought my mom was going to hurt him. I mean, she raised 2 kids. She's competent. I just didn't want him out of my sight. I just did not want him out of my sight. I just couldn't. So, I know it wasn't as bad, I don't think, with Holly, but the thing with Holly was she didn't want to get away from me. She was a homebody. She liked to stay home. I think I told y'all before, she just admitted this to me not too long ago. When her friends would ask her to come over or something, she would tell them, no, my mama said no, and she never even asked me. She just used that as an excuse. I guess it's easier than hurting their feelings than saying, I don't want to. So she just used me and said, no, Mama said no. Mama didn't even know. Mama didn't know enough to say no. Anyway, okay, well, I think that's all we're going to talk about today. I wanted to just come on here and chit-chat with you a minute and let you know there's a recipe coming up at the end. Now, this here was sent to me from Cheryl Land, and it is a trial and eater. Instead of trial and error, it's trialandeater.com. I'll put the recipe on my website with just a link to the actual recipe and just notes of what I changed, because I just changed a couple of things. And I forgot to say in the recipe, it says it's best if it sits an hour before you eat it. But the reason why I wanted to do it and show it to you today is because it might be something you want to make for a cookout tomorrow. And maybe it would give you time to go to the store and get the ingredients, which is just normal everyday ingredients. I had everything on hand. Here's the thing. RJ does not eat diet foods. He's not a diet food person. And I made it and I tasted it. I was pleasantly surprised because it's deviled egg pasta salad. I make deviled eggs with mayonnaise, not yogurt. Never have made it with yogurt, so I wasn't sure how this was going to taste, but I'm like, it sounded so good, I had to give it a try. Well, I told RJ when I tasted it, I'm like, oh, you like pasta salad? He goes, no. I said, well, this is deviled egg pasta salad. He goes, well, I'll give that a try. He don't like the vinegary, like maybe Italian pasta salads, that kind of thing. He don't like that. He tasted that, he's like, that's good. I'm like, isn't it though? So that's what's coming up next. It's super, super easy to make. So I thought, well, I'll come out here and chit chat with you a little bit. Oh, I'm going to pop in some Happy Meal that I got yesterday too. That's another good reason to come on here. I'll pop in the Happy Meal right after this. And then after the Happy Meal will be the recipe. So I hope everybody has a wonderful Memorial Day. And let's remember the reason for it. The reason is to celebrate those that fought for us, to give us the freedoms, the ones that have passed on, their memories. Let's remember that. So that's all I know today. And fast forward. I'll see you in my next video. Okay, it has been a good week for me for Happy Mail. What a week it's been. So here today, I got this little card, and this is from Terry Sharp. And Terry, I hope I am saying your last name right. I know how you spell it, but I want to make sure I pronounce it right. Anyway, she is my friend who has a YouTube channel called Yarn Joy Podcast. So, of course, I got a little crochet bookmark. But if you went to her channel, if you crochet, I'm telling you, if you went to her channel and saw all the things she makes, she is amazing. The things that she can make is just mind-blowing. Just beautiful little things and little stuffed animals for her grandchild, her grandson. So, Yarn Joy Podcast. Go check her out. I'll link her below because I know some of y'all crochet because y'all have sent me crocheted items. So I know you crochet. And she's a sweet woman. She's just a real sweet woman. She knows I collect Joanna Lund cookbooks. She also has a collection of her cookbooks. So she sent me this, Cooking for Two, and then Pizza Anytime. So that is 2 more for my collection that I did not have. Then, at some point, I have mentioned that these are my favorite wax melts. You get them from Walmart. The iced lemon sugar cookie, the best smell in the world. I can never find them. You can order them online, but you have to buy $35 worth, and then it costs like, I can't remember how much it was to ship them. It was terrible. But the last time I was actually inside the store, I had to get a couple other scents, which I like, but these are my favorite. So she remembered that, and she found these and sent me 2 of those. So I can't wait to get those in my tart warmer. So that is my happy mail from Terry. Terry, I thank you so much, and I appreciate it. This pasta salad is going to be really quick and easy to put together. What I have here is some boiled macaroni. Now, the recipe calls for 8 ounces, but in her notes, she says if you save it in the refrigerator, it may dry out, and you can add more mayonnaise or yogurt to it. And I thought, well, instead of having to do that, I would back up on the macaroni. So I only made 6 ounces of dry macaroni instead of 8. And then I've already boiled the 6 eggs. The egg whites I chopped in here, and the yolks we're going to make the dressing with. But then we need some red onion. Recipe says 1 small, and then some notes. People may were like, well, that was too much. She said, well, you could use a half. I just say red onions to taste. And y'all know how I feel about onions. I would marry them if I could. We'll see how that looks. Now let's just kind of mix this together. And I salted my noodles. I salted my water, and I tasted them when they come out. They were not salty. They didn't have any flavor. So I salted them here in the bowl to make sure they have flavor. Now, I think that might be enough onion, so we'll set this aside. Now we got to make our dressing. This is the 6 egg yolks, so we just want to mash them. Then to that we need a half a cup of yogurt, the plain non-fat Greek yogurt. And a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. I'm using Duke's Light. You know, regular Duke's is my favorite, but I'm using Duke's Light. And then a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Now, I don't put mustard in my deviled eggs, but I'm going to go with it here. I'm just going to eyeball it. Yeah, that'll do. Now, there is a couple things that I add to my deviled eggs that are not in this recipe, and I am going to add them to this. That is sugar and vinegar. This is the Truvia Sweet Complete, because I like a sweet deviled egg. So does my family. But then we also like the tang of the vinegar. So I'm just going to splash a little vinegar in it. And then we'll taste it after I stir it up and see what it needs. You know, I've never made a deviled egg with Greek yogurt before. Ever. Never. Always just mayonnaise. So this will be a new thing for me. Let me taste it for... Okay. Needs a little salt. Now there's that. Obviously you can taste the Greek yogurt, and you can taste the mustard. Maybe when I mix it in with the pasta. Let's see, that is everything. Okay, so I think I'm glad that I cut back on the noodles, because I can see what she means by how it may dry out as it sits in the fridge. Then the last step, which I think is kind of before serving. So like if you were making this bowl to take somewhere, you would want to go ahead and garnish it, and that is with some chives. And these are the chives right out of my little pot on the front porch. First time I've used them. So I was excited. The recipe called for them. And then it calls for paprika, which I don't use paprika in my deviled eggs, so I'm just not going to put it on here. You can do that, obviously. Oh, there's a little brown one. So that's all there is to the deviled egg pasta salad.